It is officially the 2025 NFL offseason, and you know we got to go in between the zone this offseason, football family. We got to take a look at the hottest topic in the world of the NFL of what creating to draft and the offseason, which could include some blockbuster trades that could potentially be on the table. But today, we're going to start with the quarterback position and where we think a potential Hall of Fame quarterback may end up. And it could be in the ever competitive AFC North. If you're just finding our channel for the first time, make sure you give a nice stiff arm to that subscribe button. Make sure you go ahead and tackle that thumbs up. Leave us a like. It costs you nothing in the world where everything is going up. Blitz that bell and sound off in the comment section. Where do you think Aaron Rodgers will go? Do you want him? What are the odds? We'll look at those. His stats this past season. He's not a spring chicken anymore. Does he even play winning football? We'll talk about that all day today on today's episode of In Between the Zones. We take a look at the NFL offseason here on the Flex Zone Podcast, your home for sports content and NFL content 365. Now, could this photo indeed become a reality? Something fans of AFC North teams may or may not want to see. Depending on who you ask, Aaron Rodgers is a liability. Aaron Rodgers is washed. Aaron Rodgers needs to retire. But I'm here to tell you today, Flex Zone family, and maybe even Steelers fans watching this and fans of other teams who need a quarterback, Aaron Rodgers will be on an NFL team come this upcoming season. Right now, it looks like the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the favorites to land Aaron Rodgers. Now, if you follow the Flex Zone, I know one thing about Aaron Rodgers. He's as fantastic as it comes. One of the most talented quarterbacks ever. Won a lot of individual accolades. Did win a Super Bowl. But since 2010, when he did win that initial Super Bowl, he always seems to let you down when you need him most. Whether, unfortunately, it was injury. Unfortunately, it was coming up smaller than mini-me in crucial moments in postseason. Whether it seems like single-handedly the relationships he's had with the individuals in Green Bay, like we've seen it deteriorate with the New York Jets. He is, in a sense, becoming a team cancer. And he's putting up probably these empty stats because when you think about it, his team is probably playing from behind. The Jets' defense wasn't that good this year. I can't put all of the blame on Aaron Rodgers. And when they did get Devontae Adams, who could potentially join Aaron Rodgers, wherever I think that could be a package deal. That is something I'm also going to keep my eye on. Devontae is still under contract with the Jets, so I don't know how likely it is, but never say never. Now, Deshaun Watson, who is a Steelers player, said this on Instagram when he did comment. He said that's a final. So I don't think the Steelers even believe. Now, we do know Russell Wilson and Justin Fields are free agents. It looks like Russell Wilson is as good as gone. People are saying he's going to go back to Vegas and play with his former coach, Pete Carroll. I don't see it. I definitely don't see it. And it was said by new Packers coach Aaron Glenn. If you're going to be a part of this team, you have to be at all training camp. You can't be missing it. Can't be in Egypt. Can't be in the darkness retreat. Can't be high off ayahuasca. And he can't do the Pat McAfee interviews anymore. And obviously, Aaron Rodgers and Pat McAfee, they're really good friends. Pat McAfee gets a lot of views and interest on his show with that weekly interview spot from Aaron Rodgers. So Aaron Glenn coming in, meaning business. And look at the teams that are going to sign a quarterback by the name of Aaron Rodgers. The odds here. Let's click on those and look at them. Starting from the bottom, I don't think he's going to Cleveland. He's got 1 year left max. He will be 43 or 42 in December. So 12/2/1983. I don't see the Browns. I see the Browns maybe going after Kirk Cousins, maybe a Sam Darnold, or drafting a guy. The Giants, no, I think they draft a player at the quarterback position. I don't see why they would not at where they're drafting. I think they draft a quarterback, especially if one falls to them if Cleveland passes on one. Titans, I don't see it. Rams, I think Stafford has 1 more year. Colts, I think they're going to ride with Anthony Richardson 1 more year. Now, the Vikings are interesting because we've seen a former Green Bay quarterback by the name of Brett Favre do the same thing, go from the Jets to the Vikings. Got to an NFC Championship game. Now, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers wants to follow the shadows of Brett Favre that much, But the Vikings, they do have a win now mentality. They got a lot of weapons. They were really good this year. Kevin O'Connell, coach of the year. But I think having JJ McCarthy, and they do have Daniel Jones, I don't know if they're going to bring in a third quarterback, especially Aaron Rodgers, especially if he's not going to play, or unless he's going to what? Mentor JJ and be a backup. Because I think JJ needs to be the starter day one. I think JJ needs to get an opportunity. We saw what he did in the preseason before his injury. They have a ready-made team to compete. And honestly, with the athleticism and ability JJ has outside of the pocket and his winning pedigree, I'd put JJ in. You've seen what Sam Darnold can do. I might bring him back maybe for a franchise tag, but I'm going all in with JJ. Clearly, we need someone at the quarterback position that can make those plays like we've seen in the Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts, extend the play, make plays outside the pocket as well as in the pocket, and be able to handle making guys miss in the phone booth. I think they have that with JJ McCarthy potentially. The 49ers are interesting. I don't know if they will give it to Aaron Rodgers. I think they're going to fold and pay Brock Purdy. We hear the speculation and rumors of them trading Deebo Samuel. They just signed Brandon Ayuk last year. They got a lot of money on their payroll. They're getting older. I don't see that. I really don't. But the top two teams, the Raiders and the Steelers, does Tom Brady want a 41 going on 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback with a 74-year-old Pete Carroll? Oh, by the way, you're in the same division with the reigning AFC champion and 2 out of the last 3 years Super Bowl champions and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, Chiefs. The Chargers with Jim Harbaugh, they look to be on the up and up. The Broncos with Sean Payton, they have their quarterback and a good young nucleus. They seem to be on the up and up. So honestly, even if he does go to Vegas, what is that? Maybe 1, 2 more wins? It's still going to be a lot of this. It's going to be a lot of that. It's going to be a lot of that if he does go to Vegas. Like I said, do they win 1, maybe 2 more games?
Finish him, Daddy.
And who's he throwing the ball to? Who are his weapons out there besides Brock Bowers? They don't have a running back. They don't have a good offensive line. They don't have like I said, a number one receiver anymore. Devontae just left there. So would he go to Vegas after his boy just left there? I don't think so. And I think that's where it leads us to the Steelers. Here we go, Steelers. I know y'all may not want to go with another retread of a veteran quarterback. You have Russell Wilson last year. He couldn't even make audibles at the line under Arthur Smith. Now, I don't know what the relationship with Aaron Rodgers and Arthur Smith would be, but the fact that Russell Wilson had to just go with the play he was called, like he's a rookie or a no IQ having quarterback. We know Justin Fields is a free agent. I think someone will probably sign Justin Fields, maybe a Jets, maybe I don't know, Indianapolis Colts, maybe a Tennessee Titans. I don't know. Someone's going to sign Justin Fields because of his ability to run. We've seen a quarterback like Justin Fields. He's better, obviously, Jalen Hurts, but that type of quarterback is going to be what teams are going to go after. Guys who have athleticism, guys who can extend plays and make guys miss in the pocket and use their legs as good as their arm. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is 41 years old. He's not as good athletically, but he still can throw the ball from the pocket. If you send him to Pittsburgh, they did have a good offensive line last year, but they suffered a lot of injuries. So they had a lot of young guys coming in. Their offensive line should be better this year. It's young. I think it will be better. They have the 20th pick in the draft. I think they will pick whether it is an offensive lineman, a game-breaking receiver, a number 1 caliber receiver potentially. You have George Pickens. You have Pat Freiermuth. You have Warren. Looks like Najee Harris is a free agent. You could lose him, but they could draft another quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd round. This is a good draft for running backs. As mentioned, the Steelers are one of the best drafting teams in the NFL. And defensively, yeah, they got TJ Watt. They got Minka. They still have some Joey Porter Jr. They have Cam Hayward, who had a great year. So they still have some nucleus players on defense. Obviously, with Pat Queen, with Herbick, with some of those individuals, it's great that they have that nucleus. So it is going to be interesting because then you got to come to the AFC North. You got to play Joe Burrow twice. You got 2 really not even easy games against the Browns because Browns and Steelers are always going down to the wire, but you got the Browns twice. It's not going to be easy. And then you got the Ravens twice. And honestly, speaking from a Ravens fan, I wouldn't mind whooping up on that Aaron Rodgers ass twice a year. I'd be good with that. This isn't 2010 where he's thrown for 4,500 yards and 35 touchdowns and 2 or 3 picks. He had a really good year this year. He had a very underrated year. And if you're going to sit up here and tell me that there are 20 quarterbacks better than Aaron Rodgers, I'm not buying it. I'm still putting him in my top 15, in my opinion. He's still a top 15 quarterback, maybe even a top 12 or 13 quarterback, depending on your list. But I think he's a top 15 quarterback. I think you can still win games with him. If he does go to Pittsburgh, he's an upgrade over Wilson, over Fields. He can throw the ball down the field still to a George Pickens, get it to Pat Fryer move. You can run the ball effectively with Warren. I'm sure they'll add pieces there. They know they like to run the football. The offensive line, I think, will be better. Defensively, I think they'll be able to add more pieces there. So I think overall, the roster that he would walk into would be the best roster, in my opinion, just from regards to improvement from last year, in my opinion, because we know Mike Tomlin, he's going to get you 8 or 9. So now with 17 games, he's going to get you 9. Can Aaron Rodgers get you 11 or 12? I think so. And he'll have you right there in the mix to compete for the division crown like they were doing this year. But like I said, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers over Russell Wilson right now. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers over Justin Fields. Aaron Rodgers is still a top 15 quarterback, whether you like his antics on or off the field, whether you think Mike Tomlin and him could coexist. I don't know, but I'll be here for the interesting aspect of it, the reality TV aspect of it, the drama of it, and the seeing possibly them come to blows. Not come to blows, but in a sense, maybe a power struggle. But I think they need each other at this stage. Mike Tomlin, he would have an aging Aaron Rodgers, but still a winning quarterback, I think, in my opinion. 38-97, so almost 4,000 yards. Yeah, that would probably dip again with the Steelers, but they're going to run the ball more. He's still giving you almost 30 touchdowns, only 11 picks. I would take a flyer on him if I'm the Steelers because you're not getting a quarterback where you're drafting. The free agent market is not the most fruitful. And I think Aaron Rodgers is, like I said, still, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers over Sam Darnold. Personally, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers over Cam Ward or Shador right now, especially if you have a roster that is ready to win now and compete. And the Steelers definitely need to do that because they are ridiculed right now by their fan base with Mike Tomlin's lack of success in the postseason, not winning a postseason game in over a decade. And you see it and you hear the frustration coming from Steelers fans all throughout Steeler Nation. And I think Aaron Rodgers, while I think a lot of them would moan and groan, I think in the long run, it could be something that could really, really help this team and could really, really help them in the AFC North. Like I said, you got Burrow. The Bengals are going to be back. We don't know what the Browns are going to do. We know the Ravens are going to be in the mix. I think Aaron Rodgers would be the best bet for a 1 year stopgap. Then maybe you draft a guy in the second or third round. You try to develop him for a year under Aaron Rodgers. And then you go from there and you kind of see what you have. But what say you? I want to hear from you in the comment section. I want to hear what you think about free agency. Where does Aaron Rodgers go? What do you think about the odds? They have, like I mentioned, Steelers plus 200 and the Raiders plus 300. Would Aaron Rodgers do Tom Brady's bidding? And like I said, I think the 49ers going to pay Purdy. I think the Vikings are going to go with JJ and maybe bring back Darnold. If they let him go, he's going to get paid probably maybe by like Tennessee or someone. But I see it coming down to the Pittsburgh Steelers is where Aaron Rodgers will be. He'll be in the AFC North, and it'll be a lot of fun to talk about. Make sure you stiff on that subscribe button. Tackle that thumbs up. Make sure you blitz that bell. Sound off in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers. Do you think he's done? Do you think he's washed? Would you like to see him with the Steelers if you're a Steelers fan or a football fan? What do you think? Almost 4,000 yards last year, almost 30 touchdowns, 11 picks, 48 quarterback rating, and I'm God's favorite host. I'm out of here. You guys get a 100. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, hit that bell. Any comment helps us out. What you think about the move? Thoughts on the Super Bowl? What do you want your team to do? Would you take Aaron Rodgers? Do you not want him? Does he need to go to the retirement home? We want to hear from you down below. We'll talk about it until it happens. Aaron Rodgers is one of the top quarterback free agents in this year's free agency class, and he could be playing in Pittsburgh for the black and yellow and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you when I see you in the next video. Have a good day, everybody. Peace.